I can't tell you how many times I've sat down ready to record my podcasts and thought, oh man, what am I going to talk about today? Or how many times my clients have come to me and said, I have a lot of things to say, but I'm not exactly sure what to post. And I'm not sure when and where and how am I going to come up with so many blog ideas? Well, good news, that's what this podcast is about. So stick around.
You're listening to Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast.
Welcome to Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast. And now your host, Meliss-Ep.234.
All right, so today we're talking about not knowing what we're talking about. And this is something that my clients bring up all the time, whether it's podcasts or blogs or content or emails or whatever you can think of. If you have to take it from your brain and put it into words and get it out there so your audience can hear it or read it or see it, then this is the podcast for you. We are talking about what you do when you suffer from writer's block or when that inspiration and creativity doesn't hit and you just don't know what to do. Now, I sit down and batch my podcasts. When I'm doing a really good job, I do about a whole month's worth in a weekend. So I'll record 4 or 5 podcasts on one day and 4 or 5 podcasts the next day of a weekend. So once a month, I have the entire month's content pulled out. If it's a really super busy month, I might break that up throughout and do, 2 to 3 at a time. But I like to be ahead. I like to be a couple months ahead in all of my content creation. And that's why I do quarterly planning. So when I can sit down with 8 to 10 ideas for my podcasts and just shoot them out 1, 2, 3, bam, 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 it makes the rest of the month run much more smoothly. And I'm able to focus on my clients and my students and the agency side of the business instead of freaking out about what am I going to post or what am I going to say or what should I talk about on this podcast or this live video. And so today I thought, I'm not the only one with this problem. Maybe you're starting out and having a podcast, or maybe you're trying to write a weekly blog, or maybe you're trying to write a newsletter to your subscribers and you just don't know what you're supposed to do. And you sit down and you stare at the blank page, maybe it's the Google Doc, and you're like, I just don't know. Or you scroll through hundreds of blogs that you already have trying to repurpose content. Even though you have so much great content out there, you just aren't sure what to pull and how to create that into a new, refreshing idea. So one of the best things you could do is talk to your audience. If you have a Facebook group, that's a great place to go. Maybe you're in somebody else's Facebook group where your target audience is there. Just create a post and talk to your audience directly and say, look, I want to know what you're struggling with. I want to know what frustrations you have right now. Or what do you feel when you go through this blah, blah, blah? Or what would you change if you had access to an insert what you do, a marketing strategist, a intuitive healer, maybe a parenting coach, whatever it is. And so you ask them directly what they need, and then you respond in a podcast episode or in a blog or in an email or in a Facebook Live. That's the best way to get some great content. Another thing that you can do is find other content ideas in groups. See what's popular, see what's trending, see what people are talking about. See if somebody's struggling with something and they write a post and then there's hundreds of comments below that, because that is a good indicator that other people are struggling with that as well. And so you could talk about that. You could talk about the struggle that the original poster posted, and in a different podcast or blog, you could talk about all the answers that you received, and you could break down the answers into categories, and each one of those categories can be its own blog or podcast. Want to connect about all your marketing needs and have access to all my free resources? Connect with other health and life coaches, healers, and virtual assistants that support those types of businesses. Join the fun over at magneticmarketingmastermind.com. Another thing that you can do is sign up for Google Alerts. These are really great and they're based on keywords. So if there's certain keywords that are important to your industry, you can sign up for the alert for that keyword. And anytime an article comes out or a video comes out that uses those keywords, you can be emailed in a daily digest. So for example, I used to get Google Alerts for the word social media or functional medicine, because I used to run marketing for functional medicine doctors. And so I would get a daily digest in my email of all of the times the word social media came up in today's news and articles all over the internet, or anytime functional medicine came up. And then I would browse through those emails and those articles that they were pointing me towards and pull out some current events that were going on that were relevant to my audience and my industry, and I would talk on that, whether it was my perspective or just bringing up actual current events that are going on in the world that pertain to your industry. It's very interesting for your audience. It's also trending, which means other people have already proven to find it interesting, and therefore it will still be engaging when you put your own spin on it. And lastly, I already mentioned this earlier, but repurposing your own content is a great way to get new content. So just putting a different spin on something, flipping the angle around, is a great way to reach new people. And if you are adding new connections to your social media world, as you should be, you're going to have new waves of people come in and see what you have to offer. And so those new waves of people aren't going to know that 3 years ago you posted something similar and it's irrelevant, because you kind of want to sound like a broken record. That's how you position yourself as the expert in your industry. You become the authority when you can talk very clearly, very specifically on a few points, as opposed to being the guru in everything. So when you know your audience and you know what they're struggling with, you know what those pinpointed problem solvers are, and all of your content should be based on that. So you just bring that content back up and change the format. Maybe it was a podcast, now it's going to be a blog. Maybe it was a blog, now it's going to be a Facebook Live video. Maybe it was a Facebook Live and you said something really important there, or someone there asked a question, and then you'll pull that out and turn it into a motivational quote. So you can repurpose anything, and you can also change up how you position it. So instead of saying the best social media trends of 2019, you could flip it around and say, I'm going to do an updated version, the best social media trends of 2020 or 2021. Or you can take out the word social media and flip it to Instagram, the best Instagram trends of 2021, or the best Pinterest trends of 2023. And so you have tons of options there by just switching the words around or giving an updated version. And back to going live and getting comments. This is a great way to come up with content and writing blogs and going live and creating podcasts. If your audience is asking you questions, maybe they're responding to your weekly newsletters and with questions, or maybe they're responding to a Facebook Live that you've done and they're asking questions in the comments, then you take those questions and you do an entire podcast on that one answer, or an entire blog, or you go live on just that. So it's okay to sound like a broken record. It's okay to repeat yourself. It's okay to bring in fresh content and reuse and recycle old content with a new spin on it, or a new angle, or an updated version. And it's okay to post in groups and do your research. And then of course, the Google alerts are a great way to see what's trending and what's current and what's relevant and what's engaging. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Tips with Meliss podcast at www.marketingtipswithmeliss.com.
Hey, coaches and healers, it's time to feel supported in your business. Head on over to our free community to get access to my best resources for free. I'm talking marketing tips, business strategy, feedback, and so much more. Join now at magneticmarketingmastermind.com. See you there.